Hello, story lovers. Welcome to Our Only Thing. I'm Grace Estel, and today we're celebrating Back to the Future's 40th anniversary.
This is heavy duty, Doc. This is great.
What better way to honor this iconic film than by hopping in our own time machine back to last year, when Pablo and I each picked one thing we'd change to make this near perfect movie even better. So buckle up, because we're about to hit 88 miles per hour.
The end of the movie, there is this idea that money equals happiness. In Act 1, we learn that Marty wanted a...
Check out that 4x4. That is hot.
Which now that I'm older, I know a 16-year-old has no business owning a brand new car. But I will say when I was a kid, I was like, hell yeah, get that 4x4. It would be comfortable to go to the lake in that. And now I'm like, putting sleeping bags in the back of that shit would not be comfortable. They allegedly live this affluent life, yet they're actually in the same house. So that kind of is a disconnect for me. There's like a BMW, I think it's a BMW, in the driveway. We've heard our whole lives that money does not equal happiness. And that's true here. Money does not equal happiness. So it doesn't feel like, to me, that it's the right ending. I'm definitely not the only person who says this. Crispin Glover himself has come out.
Zemeckis got really mad at me when I said this.
What would be really great is at the end of the movie, we come in and now we've got a breakfast scene where they're all sitting around the table and we see that there is unity among the family. Maybe George has just published his first book. Maybe he's not the fully successful author, but this kind of is the payoff to...
You know, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Maybe he's now Biff's boss. He's still working in the office, but he's now Biff's boss. So that's been corrected. And you could still have Biff there. Maybe Biff has the side business, still waxing the car. You open up the door. Maybe there is still a BMW there because he's very successful in business. But maybe Marty is still just borrowing that car. It's not as sexy as having your own 4x4, but again, that payoff should be about the family being a tight unit versus, well, everything's good now because apparently we got a lot of money.
It's shorthand for a happy ending. Like you mentioned, early in the film, the family's sitting around for dinner and they're obviously lower middle class or possibly just lower class. And
yeah,
it's immediately showing that things have improved and things are better.
You brought this up when we've talked about this in the past off camera, but it's the idea of what was happening in the 1980s, right? Because every story in film is indicative of its time. And 1980s is really a time of celebrating credit cards, people having abundance, people feeling safe enough to have abundance because we're not afraid that we're going to be blown up by nuclear weapons.
It's just that 80s, Hollywood happy ending. Guy gets the car, gets the girl, everything's okay. Everyone's happy.
There's also the business side of it. Toyota probably threw a lot of money at the production to have one of their vehicles prominently featured in the film. It's not mentioned once. It's mentioned 3 times. The other thing is we have Huey Lewis's The Power of Love song, which is a very important song in this movie. And the lyrics, it's like, you don't need money, you don't need credit cards to ride in this train, because at the end of the day, it's about the power of love. And that's the other reason that I'm fighting for a change in that ending, because now it actually aligns with Huey Lewis's lyrics, which we know were probably written separately, right? He probably didn't know what was happening. And he just wrote this song. It's like, hey, we need you to write a song about the power of love. We don't care what's in it.
Very common back then in the 70s and 80s.
But wouldn't it be nice to be able to have those lyrics line up?
Yeah, that's a great catch. It's just a huge contradiction there.
Pablo, what's your thing?
George peeping. That's something that's kind of character defining for him. It's hard to get past that.
He's a peeping Tom.
As you start to root for him and want him to overcome, being bullied by Biff and, finding his confidence to ultimately solve the issue that would allow Marty to go back to the present day and have everything be fine. So it's a gross thing, even for the 80s, I think. Whereas, in the 70s and 80s, you might have had that character look at like a nudie comic strip or a lingerie catalog and have that be the shorthand for, oh, he's, you know, a horny teenager. He didn't need to be looking at a woman and violating her privacy. And it's really hard to get past that for me.
He is so appalled by Biff almost essaying, if you will, he was in the process of majorly violating Lorraine.
George, help me.
And he's so turned off by that.
No, Biff. You leave her alone.
The peeping actually does minimize that moment a little bit. Then there's also the other side of it, because Lorraine, I guess she removed Marty's pants.
That is your name, isn't it? Calvin Klein? It's written all over your underwear.
That too.
When her mom calls for her, she's like,
Quick, put your pants back on.
well, Marty didn't do that. Marty was passed out.
Yeah, there's some creepy violations going on both ways.
I actually think that's creepier.
No, I agree as well. And I think the thing with George peeping happens mostly, I think, to allow for him to almost get hit by a car. Like, how else do you explain him falling in front of Lorraine's father's car? I would suggest maybe, again, he's looking at a catalog and he's not paying attention as he crosses the street. Like, that's a simple fix, right?
We thought a great way to end this episode would be to tell you some trivia that maybe you don't know.
Did you know that the original ending for Back to the Future had George McFly grow up to be a professional boxer? Presumably because, you know, that punch he laid on Biff.
That might have been fun.
Yeah.
This might be one that people don't know. And that's that Eric Stoltz is such a method actor that his co-stars have gone on record saying that he insisted that they call him Marty throughout the entire production, even when the camera wasn't rolling.
Except Leah, who's playing my mom, who I'm trying to make out with.
Tom Wilson told a great story on a podcast where he said that I know it was the cafeteria scene, but I think it was when Marty was pushing Biff. Eric Stoltz was getting a little bit too rough. So Tom Wilson said to him,
Eric, this is a movie. It's only in pretend times when you're getting paid that you can push me like that and I don't punch you right in the face.
Might have been the last straw.
might have been the last straw. And you know what? Maybe Michael J. Fox was the right choice for multiple reasons.
He definitely was the right choice.
If you enjoyed this Back to the Future video, you might enjoy this playlist too.